Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. You know what it is. It's time for Real Talk, Real Solutions. My name is Dr. Anana Pfeiffer Darrell Home. I am super excited. I am the host. I am the woman, a youth and civility practitioner, and I am super excited for tonight. Today is World Health Day 2021. And when we're talking about health around the world, this is such a time that we are, as we are still in the middle of a pandemic. I tell you, I was watching the news, certain parts of the United States, the numbers are increasing. The ICUs, hospitals are at 96%. So we still are in a pandemic. Don't get fooled, don't get comfortable, right? So today, I'm blessed that we have the opportunity to speak about world health, to talk about world health. And you know, the overall theme for this year, really, as far as the World Health Day, is building a fairer and healthier world. And even when we consider COVID-19 and how globally the entire world has been affected, I think it brings us all together to really consider, you know, how the health of one city, one state, one country, right, can affect the entire world. And so the pandemic, when we talk about World Health Day, I'm just excited that I had the opportunity to have this broadcast, to have this discussion on this day. And we know now that our world is an unequal world. Yeah, I think for sure that has been amplified, exemplified, specifically when we were dealing with a pandemic. And for myself, as a Blessed Girl CEO and founder, the health of women and girls is a particular concern for myself as well as today's guests. And we know that in many societies that girls and women are disadvantaged, they are discriminated, and this is really rooted in like the sociology and the social culture that we all live in. Yes, here in the United States, yes, in Africa, yes, in South America, yes, in Asia, that women and girls are usually and typically the disadvantaged. So for us to have an opportunity to have this discussion tonight, to really highlight some of the things that, you know, of course, it's always just to think about, to consider World Health Day. And even here in the United States, when we talk about maternal health, right? And when it comes to African American women and how we are totally disadvantaged, right? And don't receive the care that we need. There are a lot of different things that I want us just to even consider about. One of them is heart disease. In the United States, heart disease causes 1 in 4 deaths among women. So 1 in 4 women that you know in your family, your friends, your colleagues, they will die from heart disease. We've got to talk about that. I know we have the Wear Red Day, so today I have one just a little red on the top, right? So although the public considers heart disease a common issue among men, the condition affects male and female nearly equal. Yet only 54% of women realize that heart disease is the top health condition threatening their gender. And in the United States, 49% of all consumers suffer from high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or smoke. And these all contribute to heart disease. So when you're thinking about that, right, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, let's even think about those, you know, especially in the African American community, that how many people that we know, that could be probably 1 in 5, 1 in 2, like half of us, we all know someone that suffer from some of these things. So heart disease is one thing. Breast cancer, which typically originates in the lining of the milk ducts, right, but it can spread to other areas, right? Especially globally, where we have women in our population in different areas of our body. So breast cancer. And initially, women afflicted with breast cancer may develop breast lumps, right? So thinking about doing those checks and doing those breast examinations when you're in the shower, when you're laying in bed, right? Just remember to make sure you check on yourself and know your body. All right. So heart disease, breast cancer, ovarian, and cervical cancer. These are just some of the things that I want us to think about here, even domestically, with us being here in the United States, to consider some of these issues, pregnancy issues I talked about, autoimmune diseases, right? These are all those that affect women at a higher rate that you probably wouldn't even think about and consider. And one that I was surprised that they have is depression and anxiety. Man, oh man, talking about living in a pandemic, talking about dealing with stress and anxiety and depression, right? Speaking about moms being home and taking care of our children and our households and all that comes along with that, homeschooling, right? Depression and anxiety. And this is a natural hormonal fluctuation that happens, specifically to women. And then we talk about PMS, which occurs. PMS is premenstrual syndrome. It occurs commonly among women, right? And these are things that we should think about when we think about health, our health, and how it can be affected. Right. So this was just things I wanted to just put out there just to get you guys to think and consider, because it is World Health Day. And I'm glad because I even have a guest that can speak more to it, even on a global aspect, right? So just consider these things today on World Health Day 2021. All right. So let's go forth. Listen, it's time for real talk, real solutions. I'm honored that I have this amazing guest. And you, if you haven't had the chance to meet her, I'm super excited. I'm the one that could introduce her and could present her to you. And we'll talk more, but I want to first just say her name right. And I probably still won't get it right, but she will correct me on this because we both have, unique names. And I saw this post last week that it was like, sis, make sure they get it right. So tonight, I want to introduce Dr. Adama Kalokoh, and I probably still didn't get it right, but we're going to work on it. She is a strong advocate for women and girls in her ancestral homeland, Sierra Leone. Her passion for helping others and devotion to the service of humanity was crystallized after she made her first visit to her homeland in 2003. And she realized the tremendous need to help rebuild a fragile nation which still harbors the trappings of instability. She felt a great sense of responsibility, challenge, and inspiration to become an ambassador and a change agent. I'm going to stop. Change agent, guys. Put that in the comments, to become a change agent for girls and women in Sierra Leone. Since then, Dr. Adama has worked tirelessly to raise the consciousness of Americans and the global community to the plight of women and girls in Sierra Leone. At the same time, she is working to sensitize, uplift, and reinforce women in Sierra Leone to become role models as actors of change. One thing I even learned more about her is that she actually served in the Air Force, in the U.S. Air Force. Amazing honors and recognition. She's been honored and recognized in Sierra Leone and the United States as the Yonabana brand ambassador, female empowerment entrepreneur, and chief patron of the Yonabana Student Association Award. I know I messed that up, but she's going to get me right here. She's been nominated as a 2019 Global Goodwill Ambassador and was also among the top 100 recognized human rights defenders. Right? And this is so amazing because she's here with me tonight on World Health Day. And she served in the United States, and she actually specializes in dietetics and nutrition. So I'm hoping she's going to talk a little bit about that as well. But she currently is the director for Impact Sierra Leone, which supports empowerment and education programs in Sierra Leone. So without further ado, amazing, excited to have our guest here today. Welcome.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Not you. Maybe I don't know if you can turn the volume up, but I can hear you. I'll definitely check with our audience. Can you guys hear her?
For some reason, my audio just kind of...
It's okay. Now it sounds pretty good.
Is it okay?
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good. If you're watching, can you hear her?
I got a call came in and
Uh-huh.
it just threw me off a little bit, but let me see if I can.
Maybe put it on
I'm
airplane
sorry.
mode or something. I don't know. We'll see.
No, no.
We're good.
Oh yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll do that airplane mode because
I think that works. I hope I'm right. I hope I don't lose you.
actually no, I'm not gonna jinx that. I'm gonna leave that alone. We're gonna work it out.
That's
And
fine. They
I
said that they can hear you. Yes. I see Quincy King is
okay.
here, and she said yes, she can hear you. So I think we're good.
Okay. Um hello, hello, hello. So I am so excited, so honored and humbled to be able to speak, to give a voice, to share my journey, to really chat with you, have a conversation. It's just an honor. And I see you as a sister and a fellow woman of power in the fight to help just make this world a better place through our efforts, through our journey, through our daily walk. So I'm beyond honored to just share a little bit about Dr. Adama Kalokoh. I will probably touch on a little bit about the name, but I'm honored, 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 and I am excited
We're
and
so
empowered
happy
to be
that you
here.
can be here. Dr. Adama Kalokoh. All right, I'm going to get
Yeah.
that. Am I getting better? I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to get better at this. But I welcome you. I thank you for your yes. I thank you for the work that you do. And we can just give a big shout out to our girl, Dr. Louisa Akazo, for bringing us
Yes,
together, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
So,
these are what you call the powerful connections.
yes.
And I would say that even in the midst of the pandemic, I would say that one of the best things that happened in the pandemic is I connected with some powerful people. Even through what we were going through, I can say that that is the light that I can see. This meeting all of you, connecting with so many people, even during what we're going through. I count 2020 a blessing because of
Amen.
that.
And we're here,
Yeah.
and we have survived. We are
Still
thriving.
standing.
Come on, and you just returned. You were in Sierra Leone, right? Was that in 2020? I'm trying to remember when you went. Was it early this part of this year?
I left, I traveled December 26th, the day after
Okay,
Christmas,
right.
and I returned on January 15th. So I left in 2020 and came back in 2021.
Oh my goodness. So listen, I don't even know where to start because with Moms on a Mission, we really uplift and we really encourage women to, go fulfill their passion, fulfill,
Yes,
their purpose, right? And then you are
yes,
that. You are a mom with two amazing
yes,
children. There's so much to talk about. You just closed on
yes,
your new home. Like you just said,
yes,
you ended the year, you started the new year in your home country. I mean,
yes.
you did all this in the midst of a pandemic, right?
In
You
the
are
midst of the
beautiful. You are
pandemic.
shining. So I'm gonna I'm gonna turn this over to you. I want you to speak to the
Okay.
audience. Let them know where you
Yes,
are now. How did you get here? It's so much, but first I'll let you
yes,
to just share a little bit about your journey. And we'll go from there,
right.
please.
I am so excited. I want to start by piggybacking to those words that you said, passion, purpose. Yesterday I shared a post that said there are three important P's. I have a yes. Yes, three important P's, which is passion, purpose, and potential. And that those have driven me for as long as I can remember because I really feel that in all that I've done in most of these years, my passion for Sierra Leone, my passion for serving, my passion for being creative, all of those things have led me to my purpose. And I believe that once you find your purpose, the light comes on, the glow comes on, the light within you shines, and it's not even work. It's purely, purely a blessing. So I'm going to just give a little glimpse of Adama. And I want to share that my name came to me when I first visited in 2003. I grew up in Washington, D.C., born and raised to a mom and dad, second of five children. And growing up in Washington, D.C. public schools, I was not really in love with being in Africa. I tried to fit in and be a part of the school, the cool kids. So I grew up as Adama. And then when I got older and finally made that first trip to Sierra Leone, West Africa, in December 2003, my life was forever changed. My purpose was reborn, was pretty much born from that moment that I visited Sierra Leone. And they educated me that your name is not Adama, it's Adama. And so I came back with that whole feeling, telling people that this is my name. So that's just a little bit of backstory to give you with that name. So sometimes I kind of go with Adam, it's fine, but the real pronunciation is Adama. So how did I come to be? I feel like I have gone through so much, so many ups and downs, but for the most part, I can really say that everything that I have gone through has been for a purpose and has been a major reason why I've and it's not to boast. I just feel that God deposited something in me that I can actually see it now. And it's a blessing when you can actually see that God has used you for what you're doing now. It makes you, it motivates your every being. And I tie everything to my faith. And I know everyone has their own faith, their own background, whatever motivates you, but my faith has built me, has really been with me on this journey and has kind of helped my mind, my positive mindset, even in the midst of trials. I can share with you so many things I've gone through, but everything I feel, I live in the moment each day that it's only by God's grace that I get to get up and do not just work, but to give, to serve, to speak, to motivate, to inspire, and to help change someone else's life. Many people, many mentors in my life have mentored me, some just by chance. And I believe that attitude is everything. A lot of times, some people may feel that things are not happening, but I really believe that when your mindset is changed, your attitude is that, you know what, that you do good things and you help, that comes back to you. And that's really how my life has been in the last 5 years. I feel like everything that I've gone through, even the up, the downs, I feel like God always puts someone on my path, on my journey to speak to me, to motivate me. And it has helped me to give back. And so, as you mentioned, I was in the military. After high school, I went and I entered into the United States Air Force. And that taught me about service, that taught me about diversity, that taught me about patience and discipline. And I feel that every area of your life, whether you are an NGO leader or owning a business or just running your home, you have to have discipline. And that's one thing that I can say. Sometimes I really used to think, why in the world did I go in the military? What was I doing? It was God's purpose for my life, because it is still speaking the discipline, the teamwork, working as a team, even with the different personalities. Military taught me how to work with a team. But it also opened my eyes to what God was going to lead me into public health. I love public health because of my journey in the military. I love learning that there's different foods that you eat that can make you a better person, that can help you live longer. And I learned almost over 100 diets, working with the senior military personnel, helping them to have a diet pattern, a diet chart, learning about how, to eat the right foods to prevent diabetes and cholesterol. But just working, my focus was with the military, working with some of the women who were obese through pregnancy, coming up with dietary patterns. I fell in love with just that whole essence of educating people on their health and how to live a long life, a better life. And for military personnel, that was really, really, really key, to be able to help them be a better airman. So again, at that point in my life, I didn't know what was going on. Why was I doing this? But when I left and I decided that one term was okay with me, I decided, you know what, I love public health. So that you got that piece for now. That was where that whole public health love started. Fast forward after that, I didn't have a job, but I knew that I had to do something, and so I got a job, an internship through a program called AmeriCorps. That's like the American version of Peace Corps. Did not pay well, and at that time, one thing I can say is, for anyone listening, one thing you can learn as you go is don't compare yourself. to anyone, because it will bring you down. It will keep you from even growing, because you're looking at the left and the right. At that time, I initially I was thinking, wow, my peers are making money and they are, really owning their homes and everything. I think at that time I had a roommate, I didn't have a car, and I was just kind of trying to work it out. But I decided to take the internship, and it changed my life. And whether it was just able to pay my stipend for college, but I mean, I was able to receive a stipend, but I was able to be in a role as a volunteer director, where I managed volunteers in Washington, D.C., within our church and those outside of our church. And we did a volunteer service every third Saturday of the month. Again, it wasn't the greatest pay, but I learned skills that I'm still using today, how to mobilize a lot of people to do a great work. And then after that, follow up, you know.
Okay, hold on. I'm here. I'm back. Now, because let me tell you, there's so much good stuff in this, right? I got to make sure that everybody's getting it. I got to make sure everybody's getting it. Because first of all, you talk about passion. Kotiki talked about you saying passion, purpose, your potential, right? And faith is what built you, right? God's grace, attitude is everything. And I love how you're saying, like, God will take the pieces of everything every time in your life. Like, it might feel like this doesn't make sense. Why am I going through this? Why? But trust me, down the line, right? That this, all things work together for your good.
Yeah.
Everything is a lesson. And I say that all the time. It's not really about did I win or did I lose? Because I always win. Because everything that I go through is a lesson. Everything. And God will turn that thing around and you'll see yourself using those skills. This is so exciting because that's exactly what you're saying. And it sounds like this is just your life. Being in the military, being in the Air Force, what you learned there, right? And then the dietary and the nutrition, correct? And then being a volunteer, meaning you didn't get paid. Is that right?
Right.
Right. You didn't get paid.
I got paid a stipend, but it wasn't salary.
Right,
so,
right. But even in that, what you learned through that time serving, correct? You still using that today. It's still like producing fruit even in your life now. So I just wanted to make sure, because we can go through and for us it's life. It's just what our experiences. But I really want people to get that and understand, because there could be so many things that we're going through, right? And we don't understand that in the end, listen, take the L, not the loss, but the lesson. Put that in the comments. Take the L. It's not the loss, but it is the lesson. All right, sis. I had to slow you down because I know you're just going through, but I wanted to make sure that these nuggets that they're picking up what you putting down, right? Because it's not what you throw, but it's what is caught. So we want to make sure that they are catching all of this tonight as we're having this real talk, real solutions. All right? Did I bring you back right? And it's funny because one thing you even talking about diet and nutrition, right? And that is so important. And I'm even learning that because dietary things, what we do is just what's been passed down to us. It's what our mamas did. Grandma cooked. If she cooked, I'm not going to, I want to, offend nobody, but hog mugs and whatever else and fat back and all these things, right? That cause hypertension, right? That high cholesterol, everything we just talked about. We're on Health Day, right? But when you really know the facts, when healthy, healthy options and how to cook and, olive oil and all these things that you actually have the opportunity to learn that and put that together, that's just incredible. It's just really, really how it comes full circle. So I just had to recap a little bit for you, highlight some of those.
I appreciate that. You know me. And again, when you have a passion, you can talk for days, And so I get excited now because I know that there were parts of my journey where I didn't understand. And so somebody may be listening out there that I have no clue what is going on right now.
Come on.
But the mindset must remain that one of my favorite phrases is greater is coming. I don't know where, but greater is coming. And I look and I had that hope. And so I can say that one of the turning points for me was when I was in my senior year in college and I wrote a thesis paper. And again, attitude is everything. So I had this thing where I was drew to a lot of teachers because I was just like, you know what, I'm excited. And, you need to have that in everything, in your job, I'm not sure if I lost you. In everything you do, you gotta keep your attitude in check because did I lose you? Did I
Oh,
lose
you're
you?
good. No,
Okay.
you're good. I'm letting you see you.
It actually, I just have to make sure I emphasize because it can be hard. Sometimes the negativity can set in and it really hampers you from doing your best. So I just want to make sure I make that point. And so I just had a paper for my senior year. I wrote a thesis paper that was my professor said he was going to keep as a model for future students.
Okay.
And he asked me to consider even publishing it. And I was like, oh my, when people put that in you, it pumps you up, because I know how much I worked hard. Sometimes I spent the night in the library
Mhm.
on campus, and it was dietary health patterns for African Americans that attend church on a regular basis. And
Mm.
when I say I use my church as a poll, as a
Mhm.
study group, and he said that was probably one of the best papers. And I fast forwarded like maybe years down the road, I reintroduced it on LinkedIn and to kind of have that conversation that within the African American community and
Right.
even with the African people, I
Mhm.
tied that in. So I just say that to say that use everything you can to
Yes.
reach your audience, to
Yes.
be a voice whilst you're still staying with your lane, which was for me public health, service, my people, African people, and just really that whole wellness. And so wellness is something that I brought in even to my work in Sierra Leone. So that's why I'm just like really like and preaching to people, use what you have
Mhm.
to really be able to address and impact people. In addition to being in wellness, I, at one point, as you can see, I love decorating. I tried to get into wedding planning and floral arrangements and floor design and with two small kids, and then at that time was just not having that stable child care. That did not come to fruition. So again, I looked at that like, oh my gosh, look at this, I got flowers everywhere. And so fast forward now, I've reintroduced it now as an opportunity to encourage and even bring into the services in Sierra Leone and trying to help maybe teach some of the people, teach some of the kids, introducing floral and decorating and everything like that, and even event planning. So now I'm like, you know what, still, I can still use the skills. Like
Yeah.
nothing is a waste.
Amen.
So let me go back and just kind of lead into um, just really the whole component of service. As I said, being in AmeriCorps taught me how to serve, taught me just how to love serving. I just love helping and working with people. And in 2003, when I visited Sierra Leone for the first time, prior to that, I was doing a lot of service in the community, service with my church. Um, and then when I visited 2003, that's when my service transferred from, focusing in the US to focusing in Sierra Leone. And how I came to falling in love with Sierra Leone is actually through the passing of my father. My father passed in 1997, but prior to that, I really was not fully interested in Sierra Leone. I knew that my roots were in Sierra Leone. My grandparents, my parents, everyone was born in Sierra Leone, but I was not fully, my heart was not fully engaged in Sierra Leone. I was just focused on, doing and really developing and going higher in the US. But when I lost my father in 1997. He had such a love for Sierra Leone, and he used to always talk about Yoribana. That is one of the villages, my father's village. And from that moment, after his passing, it took some time for me to heal. I knew that I had to do and give back. That was my way to give back to him, to restore his legacy and to restore our name. And so I, in 2003, as I said, my life was changed. Um, I came back a renewed person, excited and inspired to just do all I can to help make Sierra Leone a better place with whatever efforts that I could, whatever way, whatever means that I could do that. And so when I joined, when I visited there, it was an eye-opening moment. I visited family. I never met any of my grandparents, but alive. but I made it a point to go visit their grave sites, to step on the soil so that they can know that their child, their granddaughter was there. I met my aunts, my uncles, friends, a lot of family, and that was actually an opportunity for me to, learn, my name, the culture. I just fell in love with Sierra Leone. I knew that 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 experience was the moment where I feel that God renewed and really brought my purpose in life to fruition. It was just so obvious that from this point on, whatever I do in life, it had to be, it had to include Sierra Leone. It had to be a part of my journey. And so I'm telling you that was the moment Adama changed. That December 2003, when I came back, I was like, the event plan that I was doing before, 4 or 5 years consecutively, I did fundraisers for Sierra Leone. And so my event planning came into play, and I engaged my church. We started sending clothes. I was going all over the place collecting clothes. We at that time, our focus was the church that was a sister church. And so that was my start of service in Sierra Leone. And I loved it. I would stay up at night. I would be getting my roommates, and we'd be packing clothes, and we'd be getting calls like I have clothes, and we'd be folding them and put them in the barrels. Then I would be arranging them to pick up. I mean, it was a lot of work, but I loved every moment. And I knew that God created, yes.
Let me stop you there because there's a few things that you're sharing. The first thing is about losing your father, right? And so that was key to me because that was like, it could be a dark moment. Again, a time when you experienced the loss, right? But how going back to Sierra Leone, well, for the first time for you, right? I'm sure that really, yes, right. I mean, I know enough. So I lost my father now 2 months now. So I understand the grief, the feel. So that already, right? But the fact that it was a dark time for you, right? But it was used to get you to where you needed to be, right? To get you, like God was still working something out in you and getting you to your purpose, correct? So that's just really interesting because, again, I always thinking about, all of us experiencing losses, experiencing challenging times, right? But still knowing that God is still working this thing out, right? He's still working in it. And I like to say almost like chess, like moving things around, right? To get you in position, right? To fulfill your purpose. So that's what I see, of course, even in that story. And I love how you talk about all these things that you're doing. It's work. It's sacrifice. I know, I understand. Sometimes my husband, my kids be looking at you like, Mom, really? Like, enough is enough, right? But it's not work. I mean, you feel it physically, but it be when you really are operating in your gifting and your calling and your purpose, right? It's just you do it. I mean, you would just run yourself ragged to do it, but it's such a freeing thing. It's such a liberating thing. And I know I see, again, a lot of women that they're doing things, but it's not really in their purpose, right? And you can see that that energy is not there, right? Because it's not really their purpose. And it's so key to take the time to find your purpose, right? And to fulfill it, because some of us even know it, but we're not operating in it. So it's just really, I love that part of your story, and the things that you're saying, the sacrifices and the things that you're doing, and you were doing, and you still are doing, that it's a huge sacrifice, but you feel so alive when you're doing it, right? You feel so, it's just such a great thing and a great place to be. So I always just encourage people, to move and operate into your purpose if you can, to fulfill your purpose. So that is key. Now, I want to make sure, I want you to tell us, because you went to Sierra Leone, you went back again the end of 2020, right? And again, amidst the pandemic, right? So you started the new year off in Sierra Leone. So tell us about the organization. Tell us about the overall mission. I know, us working with girls and women, but just give us an overall, vision of the organization itself. Impact Sierra Leone, right? Is that the name correct?
Sierra Leone, yes. So after 2003, I then traveled to Sierra Leone consecutively, 2004, 2005, and 2006.
Okay.
So during that time, I, of course, built relationships with organizations and people doing work in Sierra Leone. So I was always a part of someone's group. I was always like in the background helping another organization. And a part of it was fear. because I was like, I'm not ready to start out on my own, because if I mess up, at least if I'm in another group, then I'm safe. And at some point, you have to just get out of that safety zone and say, you know what? If I don't do this now, if not now, then when? And you have to kind of put yourself like, again, that legacy must be in your mind that one day I won't be here. I need to step out now and use what I can to be able to grow, because if not, I'm not going to grow. So I decided in 2019 that it was time for me to stop being a part of all these groups and to really try and start my own foundation, because I knew that other people were saying, you know, it's in you and you have to see it in yourself and you have to speak it that I will do well because God is with me. And you know, it's time for me to shine even more. And so, and then you know, when you be in a part of a group, sometimes you see, you know, I wouldn't do it this way. I would do it this way. You know, you have to end that and say, you know what, start on your own. So I just decided with prayer that, and with wisdom, you know, getting advice from different people and just planning it out, you know, because if you don't plan, you will fail. And so planning it out, you know, of course, resources, you got to have resources and know that if you start in your organization, you're going to have to be, you know, budget and, you know, so in 2019, I decided but prior to that, I was doing my own, you know, GoFundMe, and I had been connected with the orphanage, and I was being a voice on Facebook. So I was doing the work. It's just that I wasn't owning it and being under organization. So I kicked off and started Impact Sierra Leone, because I felt like if I'm going to be doing all these different projects, I need to be established. I need to really go out and do it the right way so I can help more people. And I can bring more people to the table and do it the right way, policies, and get a 501c3 and all that. So that's what really Impact Sierra Leone just was born out of a need for me to be able to reach more people, to have that voice, and you know, to be legitimate, you know. And so in 2019, once that happened, again, your work, your attitude will bring people. I'm fortunate enough to say that, you know, I use social media for good. And this is something that I've always been in my head, you know, because say Facebook, Instagram, these things, sometimes if you don't do it the right way, you will use it in a way that is not uplifting. But one thing my tag word was inspiration. If it's not inspiring people, I don't want to say it. I don't want to post it, you know. And so I learned building up people. That was my foundation, and my tag word, empowerment, inspiring, and all those things. So my mindset was already in love with what I was doing, and God put the right people. Some people leave, some people go, but every person that comes in your life is for a reason. And as you said, there are no failures. There's just lessons and blessings. And so I was fortunate to.
Wait a minute. I gotta get something out of there. I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you. Now, there's a few things there. One thing that when I train, especially dealing with the girls, I call them the shadow seekers. Those are the folks that be in the room, but they always want to stay in the back. They want to stay behind the scenes. If they come in the room, they're going to take the last seat. They're working, but they're going to be behind the stage, behind the curtain. So it sounds like you were like that person. Like, I just want to stay in the background. Nobody got to know my name. I'll do And I'm sure there's plenty of people like that. They want to just serve. They don't, you know, just I'm good. Yes. I'm good behind here. But it sounds like there was a calling. There was a pull. And no, it's more. Yes. There's more for you. It's time. It's your time to shine, right? And that's one thing. Even with Blessed Girl, you can shine. You are start embracing that. So that was a part of your process as well. If I'm not right, if I'm hearing you right,
no, you're right on it.
Because there's a tendency, especially for women, and definitely girls of color, and we could even tie that back to probably things when we were in second and third grade and reasons why we developed that and we didn't want to be seen. And, you know, because when we were told we were too loud, we were too big, nose too big, hips too big. There's all these reasons that I know because I can relate, right? So understanding that it's really your time. No, you are called to lead. You are called to be in the front of the room. So that was a part of that process in your journey, which I truly, truly love. And I love that you said, see it in yourself and speak it. Oh, this is good stuff. Look, this is good stuff. I just want to, like I said, slow down, make sure they're getting it, serving behind the scenes. And if not now, then when? And I say, and if not who, if not you, then who? You
It's not,
speak about
yes,
legacy.
yes,
This is so good, so good. So I know time is coming. I want you to. I know that I got to make sure I got to keep you going because we got a lot you got to share. Tell
yes,
us about who do you serve? How did you even get to that
yes,
focus? As far
yes.
as Impact Sierra Leone, let us know about that.
Yeah, so we started out with focusing and serving the women and children and the girls. And so that was actually my kind of like my door opening to Impact Sierra Leone. And as time went on, opportunities came where we would be able to serve more people. And so for the last year, 2020, I would say that we were able to start and move into agriculture and sustainable development. And I believe that when I became a Global Goodwill Ambassador in 2019, that was also a life-changing moment because it brought me to the Sustainable Development Goals. It was like, this has to lead everything you do as an organization. And I believe that that really helped me see that there was just more to just doing one thing, that you really want to kind of broaden your population. And so agriculture for me, working more so in the rural area where there's less attention, it was a blessing. And I started out in Yonibana, which is the village of my father. Of course, as I said, our past really can lead into our future and our purpose, and that's really what helped me. Start a foundation in Yonibana. And so right now, our major efforts, although we are doing efforts, with orphan children and other communities. Our focus is now in the rural community, and last year we were able to help with the farming, with helping with their seeds and tools and different resources they needed to help grow their crops. And we were able to send clothes and shoes and all those things that I was able to do before. We've been able to ship barrels of clothing. We were able to help the schools with COVID materials, really trying to be that, empower them. And my trip in 2020, all those people that I helped and worked with and served, meeting them face to face in 2021, I'm sorry, when I visited, was just purely a blessing, because they blessed me. They cried over me, they prayed over me, and just thanked me for remembering them. And again, this is where the community where my father was born. So it spoke. It's beyond a blessing for me to be on the giving end. And so right now, again, our focus is really empowerment, education, working with the. Right now, we're trying to build an empowerment center for women and girls in the village of Foindu. And so that's just an honor because we're meeting a need, because they don't have a school for the young kids. So right now we're really trying to work with the farming community. They work a lot, they work hard, and just being able to see that they can reduce hunger at the same time. If we provide what they need to grow those crops and have a healthy harvest, then we can help feed the community. And this pandemic really hit hard on a lot of areas, but especially in the rural parts of these countries, not being able to go to the market. So it's been really mind blowing to see just a little bit that we can do can yield a lot. And again, I've been able to connect with some of the young girls who really don't have a lot of access to those hygiene items, sanitary items, and hearing the stories and just saying, I could have been a young Sierra Leone girl. If my mom and dad never came to this country, I would have been them. So I put myself in them.
Yeah.
I put my own journey. And that really hits home for me because I know that I am a descendant.
Yes, right.
I was fortunate to be born in America, but my mom was born in a village. Yeah. So her story is my story and her journey. So it's trickling down in everything that I do, those thoughts, And so we're still getting started. We're a new organization, but for what we've been able to do, I believe that, again, greater is coming.
Amen. 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 I love that. The past leads to your future. And of course, talking about, girls and women and really uplifting them is so key because knowing that they are the foundation, they are, the foundation of what the family eats, how the food is harvested, and it's so great to even hear you speaking about the sustainable goals, right? And all those that you are speaking of when you talk about agricultural and sustainable farming, right? And that being a pathway when we're talking about reducing hunger and poverty. Right. So that's how huge that is. We think it's, such a small thing. But when we're really speaking about reducing hunger and poverty in Sierra Leone, that's what you do, sis. Like, you own that. Right. So it's just so incredible as we're speaking about this. And like I said, I was excited to share this platform and have you as a guest today on World Health Day. And so I just want you, again, I just highlighted some of the things here in the United States. And I know even with Blessed Girls, one of our projects is dealing with period poverty, right? And making sure that girls have pads. I mean, you just cannot even imagine that, we have the liberty to go to the store and purchase them, right? What we need. But that's like almost buying sanitary napkins is the equivalent to, I don't know, buying a cell phone or in value, to some girls around the world, and making that crystal clear to us, here in the United States, like this is something that is just so, accessible, but it really isn't to girls around the world. And there are girls that actually sell their body to be able to have money to purchase pants. Like that's so just making that clear that these are some of the things that we're talking about, ending poverty and talking about World Health Day, that, ending period poverty is really, really a key, and it's something that we're passionate about, even with Blessed Girls. So I just want you just to wrap it a little bit, about World Health Day, your background with being a dietetics and nutrition, and just something that you want to just end with on that for us, because you see how time just goes by. So we know we have to have you to come back and give us some updates on some of your campaigns and how things are going. But just talk a little bit to that, speaking about World Health and the health of the women and the girl child, if you can, in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, so really quick, World Health Day is really important to me because women and girls suffer the most. Of course, and Sierra Leone is probably still has the highest infant mortality rate. So a lot of the women who are pregnant, their children don't live long. They don't have the nutrition and the sustainability to be able to help them have that healthy birth. And so that's always been something that has been dear to me, the hospitals and just the clinics. And so that public health always speaks to me. I was able to visit a hospital, a maternal clinic in rural Sierra Leone, and it brought me almost to tears. And so I know that there's just a great need for the women, for the girls. And I want to highlight a partner that has really been near and dear to Impact Sierra Leone. It's called the Family Agriculture Resource Management Services, better known as FARMS, headed up by Jillian Hishaw. She's been a blessing to Impact Sierra Leone because every month her organization provides for produce to go towards our underserved communities and orphans and the young children. And it's helped turn around a lot of the community, the kids who normally don't get the fruits and vegetables because rice is such a staple food. But World Health Day, I believe that it really should be every day. Because the hunger is such a major issue. And I really am, today's been one of my exciting days because I've been able to really just show just some of the ways that Impact Sierra Leone is trying to help impact and really improve the health of those that are in the rural communities. And so I'm really excited because, again, we are focusing on a community. We're trying to help. One of the things that I was able to do, again, is meet some of the women. And one of the most memorable parts of my trip was being welcomed by all of the people who maybe received something from the barrels. And when I say I had a welcome, I'm sorry, my kids, close the door. When I say I was welcomed with tears, with joy, with clapping, with songs, with praises, that really hit home and made all of the difference.
Yes.
And so they took me home in their language and said, "Don't forget about us. Wow. We, the women, are proud of you as our daughter that is in America. Please, we want to learn skills. We want to learn sewing." And I said, you know what? That's my next journey, is to bring skills training to the women, these women that are part of the farming community. And so there's always work to be done. And I know that, sometimes it's overwhelming. You want to do it all, but I believe that if you have the right heart, God will bring it to you. And step by step, it will happen. So
Amen.
Thank you for this
Amen.
opportunity.
No. This is so incredible. The opportunity for you to hear from Dr. Adama. Every time, I think I overthink it. I think I overthink it. But the opportunity to hear, your story, your journey, and what you're doing right now, right? And then, like you're saying, for the women to say, don't forget about us, right? And then I think it's even more of an opportunity and a responsibility once we know, right, we have to share, right? We become the voice, right? So we had the experience of going there and seeing and experiencing and feeling, and I'm sure even for you, everything is not what we see on, Save a Child in Africa, those commercials and things like that, that these are real beautiful people that, that love their culture, love their family, just that's rich in culture, rich in legacy, right? And to have the opportunity to even share that, to enhance that, right? And to be a blessing to them is really what it is all about, So I'm so grateful to really meet you and to know that we'll be working, more together and helping supporting each other, and how God really has, put us in alignment, right? In this time, in this season, as we continue to build the community. And of course, one of our passions and our purpose are really working with the girl and, and women around the world. So I just want to say thank you.
I want to share one last quote.
Please, of course.
I think everybody should have something that drives them. And one of the things that just don't quit. And there's a scripture and a song that comes to mind. For the race is not for the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but the victory lies ahead for the one who endures to the end. And that has been for the last few years. I want to give a shout out and in remembrance. 2020, I lost my younger brother. His name is Musa Kante. He was my baby brother, the only brother out of 5. So my mom has 4 girls and she lost her only son. And when I say that, turn your trials into your triumph, I want to just reach out to anyone. That was a moment where I thought it was done. I was like, I had a trip canceled, but I was done. That was it, because that was my baby. But I know that even still, I have to bring honor to him and continue the race. So run your race. Don't stop running, and run it well.
That's it, sis. Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And there's so much, synergy and alignment, even in our stories. I have, my mom has all girls and 1 son and lost him, and understanding that. And I feel like even again, in this time in the season, we all have experienced so much loss, right now in this season, but the ability to keep going, to not stop, and like you said, the trials into triumph, right? And to see yourself as an overcomer, even in this time, in this season, right? And like you said, just like keep the race is not given, right? To the swift, to the strong, but those who endure to the end. And
keep
every
going.
day,
Keep going. No
every day that we wake up, you know what I'm saying? Every day that we wake up to a new day, it's a day for us to get it right. It's a day for us to be a blessing. It's a day for us to go forth and fulfill our mission. And I salute you, sis, for being just that. Anything else you want to add before we end?
Well, you mentioned a call to action. Sometimes you're trying to get yourself together. Sometimes you're just going through it. My healing for last year was helping people. I took a month off because at that time, again, I was scheduled to leave for Sierra Leone March of 2020. And then in February, my brother passed. I had to cancel my trip. And then the pandemic came. And so I could have just said, I'm done. I'm going to take care of myself. But through healing, through friendship, and of course, like you said, mental health, wellness, get help, talk to people. I had 3 anchor gospel songs because I had that whole panic attack. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat because when you lose a loved one, your mental goes. And I had to say, no, this is not going to be the end of Adama. I have to live for my brother. And so if I can end with anybody saying as a call to action, help people. And because it will really help you not to focus on your loss or to focus with your, whatever is going through. And I'm telling you, the blessings from one thing to the next. Every journey, even meeting Dr. Louisa, she would tell you, God, you came from there. People were like, I need you to this. And I never liked to speak because I was embarrassed. I thought I was ugly. I thought I was too dark skinned. So I was the person that hid.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I will not be in nobody's space. But
Right.
that whole feeling and knowing that greatness is in you as you grow older, knowing that God created you, that you were beautiful no matter what. And now people are like, that skin, all the things that I hated is now a part of my blessing. So I just want everyone to know that even in your own space, you can do great things because you know that God put that greatness in you. So that's my own call to action is through the tragedies, through the pandemic, the anxiety will overtake you if you don't take control.
Mm.
Help people. I'm telling you, it's the
Amazing.
best healing.
Yes. Amazing, amazing. So true. You know, you touched on so many things. Greatness is in you, the trials to triumph, and servant leadership. So
Yeah.
key to all of this. Like, who are you serving? Who have you served
Yes.
today? It's still not too late. And look, like it's still time. You still got time today. Who have you served? Even if it's just a phone call, a text, a word of encouragement,
Yes.
like, can I do
Yes.
something? Buying a cup of coffee for someone. I mean, just
Yes.
looking for ways. There's so many things that we can do, with nothing
Yes.
or with little, right? So just start with that.
Yes.
It's so
Yes.
key. And I love the same thing with something had a new project coming up. It's called Flawed by Design. And when you talk about the things that that you think is holding you back, the things that you consider your flaws are really your features. That's really what makes you who you are. That's really what that one
Yes.
thing is, the thing that people love and admire about you. But the enemy will get you to
Yes.
hate that thing, right? To hide and
Yes.
to be ashamed of that one thing. But baby, you are flawed by design, and it's your time to embrace your flaws and to walk by faith and trust the designer.
Yes.
Trust the man who
Yes.
made you. Trust your creator that he made no
Yes.
mistakes. So the color of your skin, the size of your hips, the size of your nose,
Yes.
the kinkiness of your hair, or the color of your hair, whatever, how big your hands are, all these things
Yes.
that we once considered flaws, we really have to understand
Yes.
that it's time for me to embrace that and to walk
Yes.
full, fabulous, and free. So that's what it's
Yes.
about, sis. This was so good. I cannot wait
Yes.
to have you to come back again and share more and even
Yes.
consider collaborations with you and
Definitely.
Blessed Girls and Moms on a Mission. So I just
Exactly.
thank you again tonight for being here. Thank you
Thank
to our
you.
audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. And make sure you comment, like, and share this broadcast. I always say you never know, whatever nugget, whatever takeaway that you have can be the breakthrough for someone else. So be the sharer, be that servant leader, share the broadcast tonight. And you know what I always say, listen, it is World Health Day. Consider your health, consider a lot of these things. I know even with the pandemic, we've been putting off what we call our doctor's visits and our different checkups, but consider your health today. Consider the health of your family, of a loved one today. And like Dr. Adama said, listen, World Health Day should be every day. So we even going to think about that. Consider your health today because health is wellness. So listen, it's Dr. Anana. Thank you for joining Real Talk, Real Solutions. We'll be back next week. Have awesome guests planned and lined up for the month of April. But you know what we say. Listen, continue to be bold, to be you, and to be blessed, girl. We'll see you next time.